Happy Easter, everyone. Barbara from AllBrands.com. I'm very excited to be with you here today. And a very special guest, Barb Mikolajczyk from Brother. She is a Brother national educator. She is an amazing seamstress. And we will be doing Easter dress sewing today. So excited. She's going to be showing the move it foot, the ruffler foot, and some techniques for doing that on her XP2. And I have a machine here that I'm really excited about to show you guys. And yeah, so we will be doing a $50 AllBrands.com e-gift card at the end of this broadcast. So to be eligible to win, just comment hashtag AllBrands and you could be a lucky winner at the end of this broadcast. So yes, I guess we'll bring in Barb. I think she's amazing. And here she is. Hi, Barb.
Hi, everybody. So glad to be here. And Easter is one of my favorite times, especially making Easter dresses.
Barb and Barb making Easter dresses today. I'm so excited. Are those them behind you?
Yes, that's two of them. I'm going to talk about various techniques about what I did to make those. And then I have another one that I'll show you too.
Wonderful. So I have a very special place in my heart for Brother sewing machines. I personally have the Luminaire and I love it so much. I know you're going to be showing some techniques on that machine, but we have other models that have some of the features that you'll be showing today. So no worries if you don't have a Luminaire yet. You'll still learn a lot from this broadcast. So yeah.
I hope so.
So tell everybody who's just meeting you, what's your background in sewing? Like, how'd you get started and what do you enjoy sewing?
So once upon a time, my mom made all my clothes and she taught me how to sew. And I started actually getting into it in junior high. And my first entry into a contest thing won honorable mention, which I never expected. But I took to it easily. I'm very visual, and sewing was a way to use my creativity. So I started as a garment sewer and did that and made my prom dress and stuff like that in high school, made my wedding dress and all my bridesmaids dresses. But I did a lot of that. And then I did a lot in theater. I taught high school for a lot of years and I was in theater and vocal music. And so I did a lot of costuming. So I've done a lot of that also. So I use all kinds of crazy fabrics. And then for a while, I did my own home deck. So I've done all of that too, bedding and pillows and drapes and all that kind of stuff. So I've kind of sewn around the whole sewing world. And I finally got into quilting recently, but my background is really garment sewing.
Oh my goodness. And I have to say, one of the garments that I've seen that you made was at a trade show, and it was actually a cosplay costume. And was it Captain America?
Mm-hmm. Captain America, and I did another one.
Amazing. It looked like the real deal, like from the movie. So I'm just so excited to have you on the show. You're so talented, and I know that we're going to learn a lot from you today. We
go ahead. I hope to get lots of questions so we can make sure to answer the questions and people can learn.
Yeah. So yeah, well, I'll try to ask them live. So any questions you guys have, please let us know. We have had some really cool comments that just came in from some folks that also love Brother sewing machines. And that is, Ivy says, this will help me get my sew mojo back. Yes, I hope so. And thank you, Ivy, for watching. Karen, thanks for watching again. Every week I see you. So this is so great to see you again. She says, I love my Brother machines. And Viola says, my Luminaire is awesome. So is mine. You have one too, right?
Yes, I do. I own one personally. Yes.
Great. All right. Well, let's get to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to switch my camera view real quick here. and show you what I'm going to be talking about. So let's go to, there we go. So the first dress, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to talk about. This one is just an Easter dress that I made my middle granddaughter. And I did piping, which I'm not going to show today. One of the things I am going to show is how to make these tiny little straps for spaghetti straps or also ruffling, and this little flower. This dress used an invisible zipper. So that foot, to make it really easy, is this one. It is SA 102, and it has all the instructions inside the little pouch here to tell you exactly how to place your fabric and your zipper and how to use it, and it makes it so easy. So that's one thing I used on this dress. Another thing I used was the ruffler. I'm going to show you what I use that on. So the lining is one piece. The skirt is connected to the bodice, and here's the bodice up here. And now the skirt is sewn on at the waistband, but it's gathered. It's one piece of lining with layers stitched on top of that lining. So this is gathered and then stitched onto the bodice. And then this is 2 rows of netting, and it's stitched onto the lining. And I will show you how to do this gathering or ruffling and stitch it on to the bottom piece all at the same time. So that's one of the things I'm going to show you. And
This
I'm
is
going to get
stunning,
started.
Barb, this
Yes,
is so stunning. Is that embroidery at the bottom?
it is all embroidery, yes.
Wow, I love the colors.
Yeah, well, this little girl loves her pinks. So that was on the satin, and then it's 2 layers of tulle over that to kind of, give it a little bit of a little muted feeling. So I'm going to start real fast with this silly flower, because if you've never made a flower and you want to decorate your Easter dresses or make one for a lapel on a little sweater or jacket, I want to show you how to do that. You simply make a tube of fabric, and how big your flower is just depends on how big you make your tube. And then you run a basting stitch along there, and then you pull the basting stitch to, oh, my furnace just went on, to gather it. So see how I'm just pulling this and gathering it? And then all you do is take this and make a circle. Literally, you just take it around and make a circle, and you wind up with a pretty flower just like that. That's how easy that is. And I'm going to show you an easy way to turn tubes right side out when I get over to the ruffler. So that's one really quick. Anybody can do this on any machine. Also, this last dress that I'm going to show you some things on is made out of Dupioni silk. So it's beautiful fabric to stitch on. It really stitches up beautifully. And then I had a little jacket, made a little jacket as an overlay, and it's out of organza, embroidered in organza. I'm going to show you how to make these French seams. So whenever you have a sheer fabric like this, you want a finished seam in the middle. You don't want to see the pinking or the fraying or any of that. So we're going to do that. So it's also in the side seams and around the sleeves. So everything is finished on the inside, seam-wise. I'm also going to show you how to make buttonholes on difficult fabric. So like this organza is quite difficult to get a nice buttonhole without it bunching up on you. And let's see, the other thing is I'm going to show you how to do the blind hem. And that is just so you can hem your dress without seeing an actual stitch. And this foot, the R foot, comes with your machine. So anybody who has pretty much any Brother machine can do a blind hem. You can also do buttonholes. It doesn't have to be just the Luminaire. And you can do French seams. So there's lots of those options. Then I'm going to go over and show you ruffling, because I have another dress over there to show you yet. And that is an SA 565. And this is for the high shank machines, but we also have a ruffler for low shank machines. I just don't know that SA number, but it works the same way. So you'll learn how to use that also. And then on the Dupioni silk dress, I just did a standard zipper on the dress part, and I used the narrow zipper foot. I love this new narrow zipper foot. So here's the difference. This is the foot that comes with your machine, and this is an accessory. And with the narrow zipper foot, I can get closer to my teeth and just get a straighter line longer because I don't have this bump out. So that's another thing that you can all do on your brother's machines that have snap-on feet. So one last thing I want to show while I'm over here, and this is a roller foot. And you're going to say, what the heck do I do with a roller foot? Well, let's just say it's a rainy Easter, which it oftentimes is because it's spring. You can take any pattern you want and you can make rain jackets for Easter, and it's made out of laminated cotton. So you can use a Teflon foot, it works, but I'm telling you right now, if you ever work on difficult, sticky type fabric, this roller foot literally rolls over that and you don't even know you're not sewing on cotton. And I just couldn't resist sharing that with you guys. So now I want to go over to the machine and start showing you some techniques, unless there's questions in between. Barbara, anything?
We have just been getting some really great comments. So we did get a comment from Ivy. She said this would be a great review as to how to use the invisible foot. I don't know if that was on the agenda today, but if we have time, maybe we can get to that or do it in a future video.
I'd say another video, like I could do a couple different kinds of zippers and show you the different ways.
Perfect. Yeah. She also said the details are beautiful, and I agree, Ivy. And Val says, I love Brother Machines so much that I have 3 different ones. Me too.
I won't tell you how many I have. Okay, we're going to move on over to the machine and show you some specific techniques. All right, so I'm going to use my mouse on the screen to pick some stitches and show you some things. And when I need to zoom in, just let me know. So I'm just going to start in sewing, and I'm going to pick, I like a center needle position, and I like the knot instead of the back stitch. And the first thing I'm going to show you is that blind hem. So the blind hem uses an R foot, which comes with your machine, and it's a snap-on foot. So I'm just going to snap off. I have my end foot on, and I'm going to snap on my R foot. Now, what it has is a flange right here. So there is a, see that sticking up? That sits right along a fold, and that's what makes it so easy. So let me make sure I show you that. All right, foot's on. So if you're like me, it's like, okay, where in the heck do I find the blind hem stitch, right? So in many of the Brother machines, you have a question mark somewhere on your home screen. And if you go there, it will list several resources that you can go to find answers. I'm going to go ask it a sewing question. So I'm going to the sewing guide. And in here, I can find answers to all of these kinds of things. And I want the blind hem stitch. So I click on that, and it tells me which stitches are built into this machine for blind hem. Not only that, but what fabrics they're for. So my Dupioni silk is not stretch. So I'm going to choose stitch 201. And now what's so awesome about this is it helps me remember how to fold my fabric. I have done a million blind hems because I'm short, my husband's short, my kids are short, everything had to be shortened. Opposite from Barbara, I'm sure. And I always think like, well, how do I fold that again? So I will page through here and I can visually see, aha, that flange has to sit right there on that fold. But where does that fold come from? Oh, there it is. That makes sense. And it will tell me if I back up one that C, let's see, the B, I have to back up too. C is the wrong side of the fabric. That really helps me understand how to lay this out. And then I remember how to do it. So if I take, here is my right side of my silk. This is what I folded up for my hem. And I have done a little more than a 1/4 inch turn before I folded up the actual length of the hem. And then I pressed it. Notice there's no pins here. And then I need to fold this so that I can make it look like that picture. So if I take it upside down and I fold the part that I turned under that little more than a 1/4 inch, I am now looking at the wrong side of both of those pieces. Let me do that again, because this is the hardest thing with the whole blind hem. It's just how to line it up. So here's my right side. I have pressed in my hem, and I'm now looking at it like this, but I'm going to turn it upside down, and I'm going to fold it. And now I have both the wrong side. It's a little hard to tell what wrong side is on Dupioni silk. It's very hard, but you'll know because you have a finished product. So then as I have this folded correctly, all I have to do is put that fold exactly where this picture shows me. And I'm going to put my foot down so it's going to hold it there. And I am ready to take off. So on the screen, I want to get it back to where I want to stitch. I can go home, but then I have to remember what stitch this is. And it does tell me I need my R foot for blind hem. So if I back out of this, I magically have on my screen exactly what I need, the stitch that I need. And it's all set. I'm going to stitch this at default because Dupioni silk is not especially thin, and it's certainly not especially thick. So I'm kind of off to the side here, and I'm going to take a few stitches. You're going to notice that it takes several stitches on the right, and then it just goes over, and I call it a bite. It takes a bite on the real thing. So let me get this under the foot a little better, and stitch, stitch, stitch. Okay, and it jumps over every once in a while and grabs a bite of the other side, and that's what holds your hem. If your fabric, and I always do this on scraps before I actually put it on my actual finished product, if your bite is not big enough because your fabric is too thick, you're going to change your width simply by touching this. And you'll notice there's a 1 and an arrow. Can you guys see that? Now there's a 2 and an arrow. And the arrow is facing this way. And if you watch up here, that stitch is growing. It's taking a bigger bite. And that's what you need when you have thick fabric. So I'm going to take a few stitches with the bigger bite so you can see what the difference is. And then if it's real thin, you go the other way and you'll see the arrow faces that way. So if the bite is smaller. So I'll do some stitches with the smaller bite and show you how that affected that. All right. And you notice I have this set to be an automatic tie my knot, cut my thread, raise my needle, raise my foot. So I don't have to mess with any other things. So if you can see here closely, the one I did on default is perfect. I can't see any of those stitches on the front, and yet it's held. It's good. The one I did where I made the bite bigger, I can see. See the blue thread I used so you can see it? That's too big. Obviously, you would use matching thread, but the point is, I wanted you to see what's going on. And when I made it a smaller bite, it didn't hold it at all. Never grabbed it. See, there's the stitch, but it didn't grab it. So that's how simple it is to do an absolutely beautiful, professional looking blind hem that you get on the good stuff nowadays. It's a little different. Things come differently. Are there any questions on the blind hem, Barbara?
Sure, that is amazing. And I always forget that the machine tells you what to do on blind hem and a number of other stitches. And it's just so helpful and user-friendly of Brother
Right.
to just provide that information right in the machine.
And you'll have that on things like the Dream and the Quattro and a couple other machines like that too. Yeah.
EQ and the V series. Oh, I love it so much. We have a few comments that I'll cycle through. Kay says, I have a Brother Duet of 4600. It has been a workhorse, but I dream of a Luminaire. Hashtag AllBrands. Well, I hope that your dream comes true, Kay, because it is a fantastic machine. Janice says, could we remind her of the feet that you're using?
All right. So this one was the R foot that comes with your machines. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I will go over the other feet as we use them again.
Perfect.
Okay.
And Denise states she's definitely going to practice this blind him. I hope you do right after this video. Susan says, blind hemming keeps the Alzheimer's away. It's always a puzzle. Yes. And I'm glad that you have to look it up too. I don't feel so bad because I do have to look it up every time. And Barbara Jones, thank you for watching. What a great way to keep us from getting off on the wrong foot. I really needed to see this episode. Oh, wow. I'm so glad you're watching. All right. So what's next?
Okay, so next is the buttonholes. All right. So again, your buttonhole foot comes with your machine. This one is different. The XP is different than anything else out there, but I'll tell you what is the same with this as an accessory that you can get for other Brother machines. So this comes with a foot, a plate that goes underneath the foot, and it just slides onto this little arm here. So it just slides right in there. What is the purpose of the plate? Well, let me tell you. When you want to do buttonholes on something difficult, like stretch knit that stretches and then it just goes like this. It goes like, and or organza or chiffon, and then it just bunches up and just looks terrible. When you put your fabric between the plate and the foot, in between, it stabilizes that fabric without stabilizer, because you don't want to put stabilizer in there and then have to wash it out or whatever. That's a pain. So there is a new accessory foot out there for low shank machines and other machines, because the Luminaire does this differently than the other machines, that has a plate. So if you like to do a lot of these things, you want that. It's the same as we're used to. You can open it up and put your button in it so it makes the exact size buttonhole you want, just like you're used to. The difference is that the camera in this machine reads these markings. See those red? Can you see the red markings right in there? And the 8+, and then these dots down here. It reads that to know what size to make this buttonhole. So that's why it's quite different. It's a snap-on foot, just like you're used to. So I'm just going to bring it in here and snap it on. Maybe. It's much easier when you're sitting in front of the machine. Now I'm going to go ahead and take a piece of organza with sparkles on it. I've already put a couple buttonholes in here, and I have marked where I want the buttonholes to start. So I've just done a friction pen and I marked it. The stitches actually cover up the marks, but if it didn't, I could, iron it off easily. And I am going to put this between the plate and the buttonhole foot from the back until I see the mark where I want the buttonhole to start, in right by those dots I showed you, those red dots. And it is very easy to see. You can't see it on camera, but because I can't get the camera in there. But when I have it all set, that's all I have to do. Now, what's different about this one is these buttonholes are going to sew from this side away from you. Everyone else sews from here towards you. So that's different. But you can still get the mark and put it in the spot and you'll be good to go. So now we need to pick a stitch. So I can go to buttonholes right here on my home screen for sewing, and they're all listed. I can also go to my question mark, because under my sewing guide, There are some buttonholes that are specifically for really difficult fabrics. So really thin or stretch or suits or jeans or like a wool coat. And those are the ones you want to know. But not all the buttonholes are in there, just so you know. Those are just if you really need a specific one for something special, you can go there and find out which one will work best. So I'm going to pick one that's just on the regular page for regular buttonholes, and I'm all set. Now, on other machines, you need to pull a lever down to do your buttonhole. On this one, we don't because of how it reads all the stuff in here. I'm trying to see if I've got that on right. I guess I do. Put my foot down, and all I have to do, oh, I want to unplug this, and where's my foot? Once I unplug it, all I have to do is press go, and it's going to stitch my buttonhole for me. And they are going to be exactly the same as many times as I need to put that in there. You'll notice it slows up and it slows up. It goes faster and slows down because it knows when it's just doing a straight stitch versus when it's doing the satin stitch. So it's totally in control, whether you're using the pedal or you're just using the stop go button. So I have also the ability to sew the button on with a foot that comes with your machine. So here is a sample of the button sewed on. And here is the buttonhole. And as though it was, you know, on the dress, that's it. That's what you're going to get. So let's pull this.
Barb, Janice chimed in and she just said, I love the buttonholer on the Luminaire. I put plackets on the back of my reading pillowcases so I could use the buttonholer. It also does a great job of putting on buttons. So I thought that was very good point by Janice.
I love this buttonholer too because I love that I can do difficult fabrics and they'll come out perfect every time. Yeah. I mean, that's a dream. Otherwise, you figure out another way to close your things because you don't want to do buttonholes.
Yeah. So Ivy also said, I have this machine, but she's been afraid to use the foot. So thank you for demonstrating that and taking the fear away. It really, that's the old style of buttonhole. They took it away, but they brought it back just because it's such a great design for that buttonhole foot.
And I love the fact that it now goes away from me because I feel like I have more control over the precise placement of it that way because I can really see it. I don't know. I just like it back the way it used to be once upon a time.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So then I'm going to show you how to sew a button on real quick because I don't know about you, but I usually have, you know, my husband will say, oh, I lost a button on this, and it'll go on a pile to be fixed. And I never get to that pile because it's my least favorite thing to do. Now, when he brings me a shirt or a button or a pair of pants, I take it immediately downstairs to my sewing machine. I get it done. I give it back to him because it only takes literally 2 minutes to do. So I want to show you guys this so you'll use it more. First of all, we have to pick a stitch, and it's built into the machine on your buttonhole page. So I'm going to scroll up, and it's right here, 423. All buttons have the same distance between the holes unless you're doing something really unique, like tiny, tiny or great, great big. Otherwise, they are the same, whether it's a 4-holer or a 2-holer or whatever. The only thing you can't do is shanked. So here is your foot that comes with your machine. It's an M foot, and it has 2 levers. One is here. This over here, it's so hard to show you, right there, that plastic. If I pull that forward, it's going to make a shank. So the thread is going to be longer. So like on a wool coat, I need a shanked button. On what I'm doing now, I don't, so I just leave it back. The other thing that you can move is the bottom of the foot. This plate will literally stretch open. How can you see that? There we go. There we go. Stretch open, and that's where your button fits. So I slide the button over those 2 metal tongs, and I put it in here till the holes are right next to the little red dots. And it's a snap-on foot again, so I'm going to bring it over here and snap it on. And I already have the stitch chosen. I do need to plug in my foot again because I do this with a pedal. You can do it without it, but I do it with a pedal. And I would take my fabric, which is, it's always 2 layers, even at the real fine stuff, because at the edge of, you know, a top, you've got 2 layers. And I'm going to place, I will have this marked, and I do have this marked right there where I want the button. And I'm going to place the button right over that. Put my foot down. Now, I will admit I'm a chicken. So I walk my needle to both sides. I make sure it goes in the hole on this side, make sure it goes in the hole on that side. And once it does, even though I always have it lined up, then I press the pedal and go. And literally, oh, it didn't catch my bobbin thread. Great, it did not sew it on. Hang on here. Actually, the needle wasn't threaded. I must have pulled it out.
Let's show this awesome needle threader on this machine. Ah, I love the needle threader on Brother machines.
All right. Oops, that's not the button I wanted. So now, since I've done that again, I want to walk it one more time. Sorry, I'm going to get in your way. Oh. Put down helps. Okay, I'm good. Now let's see if it'll actually stitch it. Oh. If you ever press a button and your machine is not ready for you, it will tell you what is. So you don't have to be afraid of pressing those buttons and trying something, because the machine's not going to. Oh, it says
it's not going to let you make a mistake.
It's not going to let you.
I love that. I absolutely love that.
All right, step on the pedal, and it literally stitched my button on, and it started and ended with a knot. Once I have it in there, I always do it twice. Why wouldn't you? You know what I mean?
Yeah, because you may have to sew the button on again, right?
Exactly. It's very slim, and you have to pull it out from the front, because otherwise it's in there, and you have your button sewn on. It's that simple. You pick the stitch, you put your foot on, you put your button in, I walk it through each side, and you've got all your buttons done. And it's that easy.
It's so easy. Denise said, wow moment, I'm pulling my feet out as you talk about them. I've been so intimidated by all the feet. Well, fear no feet, Denise. Brother makes some amazing feet.
Okay, so the button foot is the M, as in mother. Button for whole foot. Button foot is M. Your button whole foot, you can't very well, you know, miss which one it is. It's the only long, skinny one there is. So again, so for difficult fabric, a piece of cake to sew buttons on and make buttonholes. Okay? All right, moving on. How about some ruffling?
Yes, that is perfect for dresses too, for little girls.
So here we go. Here's a little dress. See the ruffle on the bottom? And then it matches the belt. And then in the back, I did a little ruffle with the seersucker on the back, like that. And again, cute buttons, buttonholes, little bow in the back. And that's stationary. It doesn't untie. All right, so we're going to talk about ruffles. So to make a ruffle, first of all, there's many ways to do different things. You can make ruffles with ribbon. Just take a ribbon and put it through the ruffler, and it becomes a ruffle. It's no longer a ribbon. And this is also a snap-on foot, but let me show you what you need to know. So here's the place where you snap it on, just same bar that you see it on every other snap-on foot. This needs to go over the needle bar, okay? And this adjusts how dense the ruffle is. So you can go every stitch, every 6 stitches, or every 12 stitches. And I'll show you all of those, okay? And then here on the very bottom, you can put fabric underneath this foot, and we'll do that. And that's how you make a ruffle up here while sewing it on your fabric, like that liner I showed you, the lining for that one dress. So you feed the fabric you want to ruffle in up here, and otherwise you have fabric down there. So let me show you that.
Hey, Barb, before you do that, we did have a very good question from Ivy again. So thanks, Ivy, for asking great questions. Should she have 2 times the amount of fabric to use the ruffling foot?
Excellent question. And that depends on how dense you want your ruffle. So here's what I do. I take a scrap piece of fabric, and I say take 12 inches. And then I decide how dense I want my ruffle to be. And when I'm done ruffling that 12-inch piece, I measure it. And then I know how much I have to add to get the whole length that I want. Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank you.
All right. I got to get this snapped on here. On there and snap. It's not snapping. Come on. You know, when you're not sitting in front of the machine, you can't get it to work.
Oh, yes. All too well.
Oh. So the first thing that you do is you don't use the ruffle foot. You use a standard foot, and you take right side to right side, and I make a tube because I want my ruffle finished on the top and the bottom, because I put this on top of the finished skirt. So that's finished top and bottom. So that's why it's a tube. You don't have to. You can attach it to the back and only fold it in half, you know, so it doesn't have to be a tube. So then after you make the tube, it's all about turning the tube right side out, right? So here's how you do that. You take the tube and you take a thing called fast turn. So this is called fast turn, and it's by Crowning Touch. And it is a series of tubes like this, if you've never done this before. And I do a lot of things, spaghetti straps and all kinds of stuff. And the series of tubes come in all different sizes. So you can have great big ones, and you can even bigger than this, and little tiny ones to do those spaghetti straps with. So you have these tubes, you feed your tube that you stitched onto the tube, literally just all the way. I didn't do all that. And then you have these pieces that go up in the tube, and you grab a piece of this fabric tube and you actually poke it through the fabric because you don't want it to let go. So, man, this is good fabric, so I'm having a hard time poking it. If you don't have that good fabric, it pokes very easily. All right, hang on here. Why is it you always feel like you have 6 thumbs when you're on camera? Twist it a couple of times to make sure that it's secure, and all you do literally is pull it through the tube like this. Oh, I just let it go. And it comes out the bottom, and it's turned right side out, a spaghetti strap or whatever else. Well, unfortunately, I let it go, and I couldn't grab it through the bottom. I promise
safety pins work in a pinch. A very large safety pin.
Exactly.
A bod pin as well.
If you do a lot of things like ruffles that you want finished on both sides, or those tubes for the flowers, or anything else you can imagine that you would normally have to turn right side out, that's a really nice thing to do. After you've turned it right side out, you are going to press it, and you can decide, do you want your seam on the top or the bottom or in the middle? I usually prefer to put it in the middle so you don't see it on the top or the bottom. Now you're ready to make your ruffle. So I'm going to go ahead and feed this into my ruffler, and you have to feed it from the front to the back. And then I'm going to turn on my guide light because I want this to stitch at a certain distance from the edge so that it's symmetrical. So I'll show you my guide light over here. I'm going to turn it on. I have to get out of here and get to a regular stitch. Let's do that. And then here's my guide lights. So a guide light is where it projects on the screen, literally marks or guides. And for my ruffle, I want to set this guide light at 9 millimeters width. So here's my width. And why 9 millimeters? Because I want to stitch this somewhere between a 1/4 inch and a 1/2 inch. You can just choose, and you can see it by looking at it. And then I can see on the bed of my machine those lines. So I have this set at doing a ruffle every 12 stitches. So, or a gather. So watch this. It actually pokes the fabric through every 12 stitches. Now I'm going to switch it to do the 6 stitches and the 1 stitch so you can see the difference. So this is just an adjustment right here. And it tells you right on top that that's 6 stitches. Now this is going to be twice as much. So see how it makes a difference, how dense you want your ruffle. Oh, somehow I popped that open. Let's come out of here and do that again. And my needle is out of my machine. That's what happened. If it can go wrong, it's going to go wrong on camera. Just saying. My needle back in.
Hey, Barb, we have some comments that I'll bring up on screen real quick while you're
trying to find my needle.
April says, loving the demo. Thank you. Thank you, April, for watching. And thank you, Barb. Let's see. Candace says, I do a lot of embroidery, so I love my Lumi. I love that. Instead of Brother Luminaire XP2, she loves her Lumi. Now I may have to try more sewing. Yes, it's an amazing sewing machine.
That's the thing. People don't realize how fabulous this machine is to sew with. It is amazing.
Yeah. So the projection feature that Barbara was showing, where it actually projects your stitch on your fabric before you sew it, is exclusive to the Brother Luminaire XP machines. That feature you do have to have a Brother Luminaire for, but the ruffler foot is compatible with several models. So if you don't have the Luminaire yet, no worries. You can still do amazing ruffles on your Brother sewing machine.
That's right. So I found my needle.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that's a good thing. But I don't know where my thread went.
Here's another one from Janice. She says, that's so adorable. Too bad my daughters are past ruffle stage. Well, I have an idea for you, Janice. Right now, like the little blouses are so popular right now with the little sleeves with the ruffles on top. So I think that they would really enjoy that. That's really in style right now.
Yeah. And if your daughters are too old for ruffles, someday there will be granddaughters, hopefully, in the future. Trust me, they love them.
Yes.
All right, so at doing a ruffle every 6. I thought I was set, but I'm not. Let's try this again. For every 6, I just got to get it in the right place there, and you'll see the difference here. Whoa. Then I'm going to do it for every stitch. So that's an adjustment right here again. And this will be every stitch, which is crazy. So let me show you the difference of what this looks like. And I should have governed my speed because otherwise it can get away on you. So this was every 12 stitches gathered. Okay, this is every 6 stitches gathered. That's my favorite one. And this is every stitch, which is like crazy, crazy tight. And that's this adjustment up here. So now let me show you how to make a ruffle and stitch it on your dress or whatever at the same time. So here's my dress fabric, as though that's my bottom of my dress. I'm going to put it under the foot, completely under the foot. And then I'm going to take the piece that I want to ruffle, and I didn't finish this one, but that's okay. And I am going to, actually it should be this way, sorry. If I want it on the bottom of the foot, bottom of the dress, I'm going to do it this way.
Which is so nice to have that long arm. So for those of you who are interested in machines, definitely consider the area from the needle to the right side of the machine so that you can fit all of that fabric and maybe quilt or anything like that.
All right, so now let's go ahead. We're going to stitch, make the ruffle. Oh, I don't want every one. I want every 6th one. Okay. And it is stitching it on the skirt while I'm making the ruffle. You just have to watch every once in a while that you're still lined up on the bottom. Easy enough to do. Just going to look where I'm at. See, I governed my stitch speed, so it's much easier to control. All right, let's take a look. This thing can be very frightening, but it's not. It makes such great stuff so easily. It's just a little bit of practice. So here's my skirt with my ruffle, all sewed on. See it stitched on there?
That's so easy.
It is so easy. So easy. And the slower you go, then the more consistent your stitches, as you could see when I did crazy man stitching.
Well, then one step too. You don't have to sew the straight line, then gather it by hand, and then sew it on the top. It's streamlined.
We do have a gathering. We also have a gathering foot, but I just use my ruffler. It just, because it gathers, obviously. I just make it a different, amount of taking it in. So if I want 24 inches done, then I know for my 6, it's every 6 stitches. I double that, and it's 48. But you should test it on your fabric, because who knows how that feeds. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Now I want to go on to the move it foot, because this is a huge thing, and we're going to talk about French seams. So the move it foot comes with your machine. That comes with many Brother machines. If you don't have a high shank machine, you cannot get a move it foot because it's too much for the machine to handle. So I'm going to take this, ankle.
So if anyone is wondering if their machine is compatible with Move It, if you click the link in the description of this video, we have on the page all of the Brother machines listed that are Move It compatible.
Yeah, and there's several. So 2 things you need to know right off the bat. This is a walking foot. And you're saying, so what? It's a walking foot. No. This is amazing. It's belt driven. So this belt never leaves the surface of your project ever. So, and neither does this surface right here. When you have a normal walking foot, it grabs the fabric and lets go, grabs, lets go, top and bottom. So when it lets go, it can scooch. This never lets go. It cannot scooch. Trust me, it's amazing. But you must have 2 things. This must be down, which engages the belt. If it's up, you can sew with this like a normal foot and it's not engaged. And you must plug it into the machine for it to work. It is its own ankle. So I'm going to put this on the ankle, or the place where you usually put your ankle, and get that on there and plug it in the back. Tighten it up. Anytime you change your needle or change your foot, you need to tighten it up. I have no idea how that needle got loose. So I always tighten everything. Anyway.
One of my favorite tools that you just used right there.
Oh, Yes. Changes your life because
Yeah.
you can make it 3 different positions, but we don't need one of the positions anymore. This is to do your needle plate, to unscrew your needle plate. So if you have a machine that's not a Luminaire and you need to unscrew that, you want this because you can get your fingers in there. This is to do your foot and your needle. And this one inside is to tighten your hoops. You literally put this on that little lever that you normally tighten and twist, and it tightens your hoops. It's amazing. I have some arthritis, and I can use this really easily.
Mm-hmm.
The
And that
reason
comes with the Luminaire.
Yes, comes with the Luminaire. It came with several other machines too for a while. All right. French seam is all about finishing your seam on the inside of sheer fabrics or any project. I know garment sewer out there that likes to finish all her seams. She doesn't like any pinking or loose ends in there. So let's talk about how you do that. First of all, you take your fabric and you put it, there it is. I was going to say, where's my other piece? You always sew right side to right side, right? When you make a French seam, you sew wrong side to wrong side first. That's the biggest tip. Wrong side to wrong side. Got it? And we're going to do just a little seam, and I'll show you why. And I'm going to set my sublight again. I'm going to do stitch 104. I don't know if I'm there, so let me close this. I am there. And I'm going to open up my guide light, and I'm going to set this on a 1/4 inch, so 6.35. And you'll notice that it says 1/4 inch as well as the millimeters. So if it's a 1/2 inch, 5/8 inch, 1/4 inch, 1 inch, all that stuff, you'll have our own measurements. So now I have my guide light on the edge of these 2 pieces of organza, and I have no pins, and I'm going to stitch this 1/4 inch seam, okay? Because I can just guide this along that guide light. I'm watching right here. That's the edge of my guide light. So I'm getting I'm not watching my needle, which is something that you have to kind of relearn because, it's a new habit. And I got that stitched. Once I have wrong side to wrong side stitched together, you're going to take this to the iron, make sure your setting is right, and you're going to press it to one side. And if you are making a garment, you always press it to the back. Okay, so here it is, wrong side to wrong side, and I'm pressing this to one side. And then I'm going to fold it at the seam and press it again. So now I have right side to right side, like we're used to. This is where you do your second seam. And this time I'm going to change my guide light to be closer to a 1/2 inch. You can decide which measurements you want. You just want it to be far enough over that it encases that first seam completely. Does that make sense? That you don't have anything hanging out over there. I got to make that just a little bit bigger. So if you're doing 5/8 seams, you can either cut it a little bit bigger or you can make your seams add up to 5/8. Okay, so now we're going to stitch the second seam down. Again, no pins. It doesn't slip. It doesn't bunch. It doesn't get out of my direction where I want it. One button and it ties my knot, lifts my foot, cuts my threads, lifts my needle, and I now have my French seam. So it's encased. So here is that look again. That's what we did. So you start with wrong side to wrong side. You do a little seam. You press it, and then stitch right side to right side, encasing that first seam. So let me show you that dress again so you can real quick see those French seams.
Barbara, this is just absolutely stunning.
So you can see inside here, this is where the sleeve is connected to the bodice. It is a completely finished seam, which just looks amazing. Another thing I did is I fussy cut these bows so that this embroidery was right in the middle of the two bows on the sides.
Oh, that's so smart.
And why wouldn't you, right?
Of course.
Okay, so with the Move It Foot, real quick, there's a couple other things I just want to show you. You also can do guidelines, but you can do a grid. So if I go up here and touch my grid, on the bed of my machine is literally a grid of lines going both vertically and horizontally. And I can tell it how big or how small I want those grids to be so that I can actually do something like this, where I just did line after line after line after line to quilt this bag. And on this one, I did it on an angle. And all I did was I marked my first line, but then all I did was follow the grid on that line as I moved over my needle to stitch this line, and so on and so on and so on and so on. And then you could do it this way too. You could also do it diamond. You just put your fabric on point and you can do that. So I think I'm close to running out of time. What other questions might we have?
Oh, Barbara, I just amazing. This machine just always amazes me, everything. But let's get to some questions. Lee Babbin's watching, and she was wondering, what do you know what pattern you used for the dresses, or was that your own pattern?
Heavens, I would have to dig it out. I have no idea. I've done so many, I don't have any idea. Just look for cute patterns. Oftentimes, I don't make what the pattern says. I take a piece from this pattern and a piece from that pattern, and I put them together. So,
yeah. So we're going to get to some more questions, but I wanted to remind everyone, because at the end of this broadcast, we are doing a $50 allbrands.com e-gift card giveaway. So to be eligible, comment #allbrands, and we'll be doing that drawing very soon. So now's your last chance to ask some questions if you have those, and we'll be doing a lightning round with Barb Mikolajczyk. So here we go. Are you ready?
Ready.
All right. Are there directions for the ruffler foot on this machine?
No, your directions are going to be in the package here.
Because that's an optional accessory.
Yes, right.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you. Good question. Just a comment from Karen. I love all these techniques. Yes, me too.
It's so hard what to show because there's so many great things.
Mm-hmm. Shirley agrees. She says, I'm always finding new things that the Luminaire can do. It's so amazing, especially with the My Connection feature. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So My Connection, sorry, I get excited, allows you to connect your Luminaire to your software or your computer. And it could even be the free database transfer software. So you can send designs to your machine wirelessly. You can also send things to your scan and cut and things from your scan and cut back to your sewing machine. I just love that.
Me too. Oh, and we have a little, oh my gosh. Can I tell it now? Okay, so right now, Brother is having their promotion for Spring Gift Guide. And there's tons of free items that come with the Luminaire and also other machines that Brother has. So that is actually ending very soon. That is ending on April 11th, which I believe is Monday.
Yeah.
So it's the last weekend. You can get PE Design 11 software, the magnetic sash frame. AllBrands has tons of extras just from our side, and a rebate for a smartwatch, which I have one. I love it. And with the My Connection feature, it will send notifications to your smartwatch, which we learned from Cindy Hogan. But here's another kicker, everybody. This weekend is very special. I don't know if Brother realized that they were doing this, but there's 2 promotions that are overlapping each other. So not only do you get tons of extras, but they're also having 0% 60 months financing on this machine starting on April 8th through the 18th. So for 3 business days, that's Friday, Saturday, and Monday at an AllBrands location, you can get 60 months, 0% financing, and the spring gift guide. So to learn more about that, please contact your closest AllBrands store, and we would be happy to talk to you about getting into these amazing machines. So sorry, I just got really excited about that.
This is the magnetic sash frame.
Yes, that thing is awesome.
It is awesome. Now, I told you I just got into quilting. It is amazing to do. I put my whole quilt sandwich in here and I just quilt with the embroidery with the My Design Center. I love it.
Thanks for going down a rabbit hole with me. I just got really excited.
There's a question about, is the buttonhole foot only for the Luminaire? There are buttonhole feet for all machines, and they work basically the same. And there is a new one which has that plate for other models. So if you want to do the difficult fabrics, and it works the same way, it just goes the other direction.
Yes. Barbara Jones is watching, and she says she has to borrow her coworkers' children or create for her son's Doberman. That's when we were talking about doing ruffles. She has a great tutu. So that's another thing you can use it for too. I have a little dog that I love dressing up, so ruffles would be so cute. Let's see. Here's another one from Denise. It's amazing what these machines can do. So not many questions, but a lot of accolades for these machines and for you. Let's see.
Well, and I need to encourage everybody, don't be afraid to try these things. Take some scrap. We all have plenty of scrap, and just play. You're not going to break the machine. Trust me.
Mm-hmm. And if you do, which is highly unlikely with the Brother machine, they have an amazing team of dealers in the United States, allbrands.com being one of them. And we're happy to help you with any education or accessory needs. And, you know, if something happens, Brother has an amazing warranty program on their machines, which we're an authorized warranty service center for too.
So April says she's never thought about using the Move It Foot for the French seam. I got to tell you, I use my Move It Foot for pretty much everything, just because I can. Even piecing my quilt things, I use my Move It Foot because then they're perfectly matched every time. I love it.
You know, I got really nervous when you said that you were going to be using these materials for the show. But the Move It Foot, it's not only for thick layers of material like what you would use your walking foot for. Since it's a roller, like I think of it as like a conveyor belt. It maintains constant contact with the fabric. So it's perfect for thin or slippery fabrics or even multiple layers.
Yes, I've done chiffon on velvet and I've had no issues. When I did that Captain America costume, it was so hard because it was really stretched fabric layered with batting and canvas to get the 6-pack look on it. And I thought, how am I ever going to get all those fabrics to stay together? Not a single pin, Move It Foot. It was a piece of cake.
We got a really good question from April, and I'm glad she remembered this. So April, if you want to work for AllBrands, just send me your resume because she reminded me there's a new slimmer Move It Foot available that allows more material underneath the foot. So if you have the original Move It Foot and you want more space to fit like a thicker quilt,
yeah, it's called the compact. I don't have that, but what it is this is cut off here. See if I can make this work so that it's got more of an angle to get that fabric under there.
Yeah, and it's a little bit like slimmer, I think. But there's multiple attachments for that. So I know you can get open toe, stitch in the ditch, 1/4-inch foot, the standard one, and a couching version that all fit that. Do they fit both versions of the Move It Foot?
Yes. Yes.
Perfect. Great. And there's also seam guides as well.
Right?
Here's a good one from Jessica. Is the Luminaire XP2 good for bag making?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I love bag making, and I often get the thickest foam because I want it to be real puffy, like I'm carrying around a pillow. So yes, and the Move It foot is great for stitching
Yep.
through that types of material.
Yep.
Trisha says, road trip, who's with me? Yes, please come and visit us. We'd love to have you in any of our stores in Louisiana or Texas. Come and see us. And
I'd like to come too, but I'm not going to make it. I'm in Chicago.
Anytime. And just one last one from Judy Work. She says, love this demo. I want this machine. Well, we'd love to earn your business, Judy. And yeah, thank you for watching. So do you want to do a giveaway now?
Yes, please.
Okay. All right. Let's see. So if you haven't yet, everybody, comment #AllBrands, and we'll be doing our drawing very, very soon. And let me give it like 2 more seconds. Let's see. And we're going to draw the winner. Drum roll, please. No, sorry, we can't win. We have to redo that one, right? Okay.
Oh, that's too funny.
That's never happened before.
Okay, everybody gets a second chance.
All right, second chance. We're going to draw again. Drum roll. Lee Bennett, congratulations. Oh my goodness. So please email me your name, address, and phone number at events@allbrands.com, and we'll be happy to send you that allbrands.com e-gift card to use on our website. Yes, so wonderful. Thank you for everyone for watching, and thank you, Barb, for all the amazing education.
Thank you for having me. I love it.
Wonderful. So guys, don't forget, if you're interested in any Brother machine, the promotions on Friday, Saturday, and Monday, it's April 8th, 9th,
Through 11th.
and 11th, because we're closed on Sundays. So just 3 days. You can double dip. And
I've never seen Brother do that before.
Did they make a mistake, maybe, that we could benefit from? Well, yeah. So this is good for you. So if you're interested, just please give us a call and visit one of our retail stores at allbrands.com. We'd be happy to help you with anything that you need. So thank you, Barb.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now go try these things because they're fun. And this machine sews like it's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
I love it. I own it. So yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. So everybody, if you really liked this video, if it was helpful for you, please give us a heart or a thumbs up or share it. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit subscribe so that you'll be notified of future videos, and maybe you might win that $50 gift card in the future. So yeah. So until next Thursday, we'll have Jerry Granada on the show, and he's going to be showing how to embroider on wood. Have you done that before?
Yeah. Balsa wood.
Very cool. Very neat.
Yeah.
All right. So I love you all. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic Easter.
Happy Easter, everybody.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.